Hey, welcome back to the exciting episode of Technical Protection.
Hey, I want to do the intro, please. You know, I'm the shop champ. I should be able to do my own damn intro. Is that okay, Bancroft? Yeah, that's what I thought. Walk away. Walk away. Yeah. All right, guys, this Big Money Beer is coming at you with a stack of cardboard. I got first place at Shop Championships running Mechikabura.
You didn't beat me?
I didn't have to beat you.
I showed up.
He showed up.
What happened to Cowboy Bears?
Huh?
What happened to Cowboy Bears?
Cowboy Bears isn't here right now. That's the Siege persona. Cowboy Bears is like Shooty Bang Bang.
Okay.
Big Money Bears is because I run the big money.
Give away those buttons. Feel free to click. Oh, he hasn't said it yet.
I was gonna get to that. So we got Mechikabura. I've been really hyped for this deck ever since it was announced. This was the initial deck that I claimed at our shop. We usually all kind of fall into different areas, into different archetypes, and I was like, I'm playing Mechikabura, and nobody can take that away from me. Interesting thing about this deck is that it is a wish deck, which is kind of rare right now. This is the first wish deck in a long time, and it's just as powerful as it used to be. So permanent, you can only include 7 Dark Dragon Balls in your deck. You need 7 to awaken, so that's fine. And when he attacks, you look through your deck and life for 2 Dark Dragon Balls, add them to your hand, then shuffle the areas that you looked. And this also does say deck and or life. So on previous wish leaders, it would say deck or life, meaning if you look through your life and only got 1 ball, you couldn't go through your deck as well. So he makes up for that, being able to look through both in 1 auto proc. Wish, when you have 7 Dark Dragon Balls in your drop area, you may draw 1 card, choose one of your energy, switch it to active mode, and then choose one of your opponent's battle cards and send it to the warp. Very powerful. Backside, when this card attacks, draw 1 card. Activate main once per turn if all your energy is black and you choose 1 card in your hand and place it at the bottom of your deck. Choose one. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less. Negate skills for the duration of the game. Switch it to active mode and gain control of it. This is probably the cheapest way to gain control of your opponent's battle cards outside of overwhelming. And it is surprisingly potent on how many chains you can just kill by snatching it with your leader. Then the ultimate wish: remove 7 Dragon Balls from your drop area. This card gains triple attack for the turn. And the auto is not once per turn, so you get to draw 1 every time. So it's essentially remove 7 Dragon Balls, gain triple attack, and then draw 3 cards because you draw on every swing. Absurdly powerful leader, and he enables a lot of really cool stuff. Moving on for our Dark Dragon Balls, run Dark Empire Strikes Back. So this card is a Dark Dragon Ball. If your leader card is a Mechikabura with the Wish skill, you can reduce this card's cost by 1, so it's just free. Then activate main if your leader card is a black Mechikabura only card, and you choose 1 Dark Dragon Ball, 1 Demon Realm Race, or 1 Demon God card in your hand. Discard it. You draw 2, and then send 1 card from your opponent's drop area to the warp. So this is your main draw engine. So much value off of this card, especially if your opponent has a leader that burst, or they put cards in their drop area early. You can start getting your engine set up very early. The rest of the Dragon Balls we run: Yearning for the Dark Dragon Balls. You can include up to 7 copies of this, which you wouldn't want to because you want to run Dark Empire Balls at 4. And activate main, your opponent chooses one of the battle cards that just cost 1 and send it to the owner's warp. Fantastic in matchups like Red Broly. I forced my Red Broly opponent today to start his chain over 3 times, utilizing cards for little to no energy, and just it set him back so many turns and pushed me forward so many turns. And then also activate battle. You can choose one of your battle cards that gets plus 5k, or one of your cards, and it gets plus 5k for the duration of the battle. You're normally wanting to just drop this off of Dark Empire Balls, but in certain cases, like Black Mass Saiyan, BMS, will really hurt you because you play a lot of cards by activate main and skills that are 15k or less. So being able to get rid of that early is really nice. So if you know your opponent's playing BMS, hoard these balls in hand and not drop them off of here, and utilize them for their activate main. Into the main package, we got Mechikabura, a Ritual at Hand. When this card is played, you draw 1 card. Activate main, you look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You choose 1 Black Toa, Shroom, or Salsa card with energy cost of 4 or less, 15k power, and play them. This is just pretty much used as a cantrip and then becomes a lightning rod because you tell your opponent that you get to play cards for cheap and they're immediately going to go, well, let's get rid of that card. Let's remove that. So in some cases, I do activate this skill. Most of the time, I do not. It's just there to be a red herring for the opponent. For the main package of the list, your real damage dealers, got Salsa, Ritual at Hand, Shroom, Ritual at Hand, shout out to the dogs, and then Demon God Toa, Ritual at Hand. So going at these one by one, Salsa, their activate main is the most important part of the card. If your leader card is a Mechikabura only card, and you have 2 or more Dark Dragon Balls in your drop area, which offer your leader, you already search 2, so you're going to have 2 in the drop area the first time you activate the auto. You play this card from your hand, then you place up to 2 Dark Dragon Balls from your deck into the drop area, and then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So it can self-awaken you very quickly. If you're in a matchup where you need to get awakened because of like fast aggro or something of the sort, you will want to be putting those balls in the drop area, but most of the time you want to be gaining the advantage off of actually activating the ball's skills. So a majority of the time, I'm only placing like 1 or none in the drop area and wanting to get those balls into the hand so I can utilize them for their really, really powerful effects. But when she is played, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand, sends it to the warp, and then they draw 1 card. I've always said, and it's something that I've lived by and build my decks around, is that if you make your opponent make choices, they're eventually going to make a bad choice that could win you the game. So anytime you can force your opponent to have to choose a card and put it somewhere where they're not going to get it back, they could ship a card that is very, very useful to them and will not be able to use it later in the game. I mean, if your opponent knows what they're doing, they're not going to fuck up like that. But it's there, it can happen, even the best players make mistakes. And then when this card attacks, your opponent chooses 1 of the battle cards in the drop area, sends it to the warp, you draw 1 card, and you can't activate auto skills on the copies of this card for the turn. And that goes for both auto skills. So if you have multiple of these in hand, you want to play them all before you swing with them, because if you played one, swung, and then played the other one, you wouldn't get the auto on the on-play auto. So you want to play these out before you start swinging with them, and then of course you will not get to draw off of every one of them. You only get that effect once. Moving on to Shroom. Same activate main, and then auto. If you have 2 or more energy, when this card attacks, your opponent chooses 1 of the battle cards in the drop area, sends it to the warp, then you choose up to 1 of their battle cards when it costs a 3 or less and send it to the owner's warp. So great removal. Anytime you can send a card to the warp, it's usually the best place to send a card. Because sending it back to hand just reloads the gun. Sending it to the drop area, some cards have drop area effects. And sending it to the bottom of the deck can be good, but normally sending it to the warp is the best way to do it because not many decks have warp recovery. I usually like to play Salsa over this guy, but there's some situations where you just need to kill a 3-drop, and this is the best way to do it. And my favorite of the Ritual at Hand package, Toa. She is a blocker, has the exact same activate main as the other ones. When this card is played, you choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards, send it to the owner's warp. That does not have a restriction, just anything that does not have barrier or any sort of skill that blocks you from shipping it. It goes to the warp. Then your opponent chooses 1 card in the hand, sends it to the warp, and draws 1 card. So again, forcing your opponent to make choices, and she's a blocker. Early game, she's a 10k body, so you can swing or, take care of a unison with it. But most of the time, you're just doing this to get rid of whatever problem card you have. And for 1 energy, it is invaluable. This card is fantastic. Run 2, King Vegeta, a Kingdom Lost. So I originally ran 3 in my initial list and ended up cutting this down. I don't know where I like it because when I see it, it's always fantastic and I put it out there, but I only tend to need to see 1 in a match to get the most value out of it. But he's unique, double strike barrier. When this card is played, you choose 1 card in your opponent's hand or up to 1 of their battle cards and send it to the warp. So if you're going for game, rip a card from the hand. If they have a pesky blocker, get rid of that or any other battle card. Same thing, there's no restriction as long as it doesn't have barrier, you're going to warp it. Then auto once per turn, when this card is in rest mode, if your opponent's leader card, if your opponent attacks a leader card, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and sends it to their warp. fantastic. Most of the time, this just becomes a deadly defender because the opponent decides they don't want to warp a card and will start swinging into this guy. And at 19, he's essentially a 20k defender, so your opponent is expending resources. And if your opponent attacks with their leader and combos off a card just to kill this, it's the equivalent of them just warping a card from the hand. So you're going to get value off of this card no matter what they do with it. Then activate main, 2 energy. If you have 3 or more cards in your opponent's warp, play this card from your hand. And unless your opponent is just really trying to dog you, you're going to have 3 cards in their warp by using your other skills. And, you know, by the time you're going to be able to pay 2 energy, most of the time you're going to have cards already in their warp. 2 Dark King Mechikabura, power restored. So this card, out of all the games that I've played, I think I've played this card once, and it was one of the few games that I've actually lost with this deck. Not saying this card's bad. I still run it. I still think it's a fantastic card, but just in situations that I've been in and the matchups that I've had, it has not been fantastic. It's Deflect, Double Strike. If your opponent has 4 or more cards in their warp, when this card is played, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, send it to the owner's warp, then choose 2 battle cards in your opponent's warp with an energy cost of 7 or less, and different card names, negate their skills for the game, and then play them in the battle area, and you cannot play non-black battle cards for the turn. And then activate main, 4, if your lead card is a Mechikabura only card, play this card from your hand. Card is absurdly powerful, but in a lot of situations, I've already have game on board by the time that I can pay 4 energy to play this, that it feels either like it's win more or I'm desperate and I need to just save my energy for negates in my hand to survive the next turn so I could possibly eke out a victory the next turn. I don't think I would cut this down at all because it's still a fantastic game ender, but most of the time I'm just choosing to play other cards than play this. To our negate package, run 3 Demon God Poutine Ritual at hands. This is just a black topo pretty much. 2 energy, counterattack if the card is a black Mechikabura only card, negate the attack, play this card. And if it's your opponent's turn, choose 1 card in your hand, place it at the bottom of your deck. When this card is played, your opponent can't attack for the turn unless they choose 2 cards in their hand and send it to the warp each time. So it's pretty much a better topo, loads up your opponent's warp, they don't get drop area effects, and just like topo, most of the time when you drop this, your opponent's just going to pass turn. 3 Darkness Judgment. So this card is fantastic because it's a negate that also doubles as a free Senzu Bean pretty much. If your lead card is a Mechikabura only card, and it's your opponent's turn, choose 1 of your cards, it gets plus 5k for the turn. And then activate battle. You can activate this for free if your opponent has 3 or more cards in their warp. Obviously, you're not going to have an issue with that. Most of the time, to be completely honest, this is just ending up in the energy because, at least in my matchups, there's been some situations where I have 3 of these in hand, and I just drop all 3 on my leader in one turn, and it's like, okay, get over a 30k body in a black deck. Nobody expects you to be able to Senzu Bean in a black deck. So, fantastic card, but most of the time it just ends up in the energy because the rest of the deck is powerful enough to take care of your opponent's board, and Poutine will shut down most turns. Power Burst, just here for the sparking. You can pick up the Mechikabura Ritual at hand, but it's just here for the sparking pretty much. And then 3 Supreme Kai at time. This card is fantastic. Negate the attack, play this card. If your opponent has 3 or more cards in their warp, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2, so it's a 1-drop negate. And then if your leader card is black, when this card is played using counterattack, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, send it to the owner's warp. At the end of the turn, play any card sent by the skill to the battle area with its skills negated. Again, double negate, play it, choose any battle card, warp it. Don't worry about it. It's coming back in, but it's not going to get any on-play autos or anything of that nature. Just a fantastic card. I was running this at 4, but as you can see, the negate package is very wide. So I decided to cut 1 down just to add more tech into the deck. Super combos. We run the Toa that got errated because it doesn't work. It doesn't have the auto in front of sparking, but honestly, I think this card actually kind of looks cool not having the auto in there. Like, it's kind of unique. I like it. The only reason you don't run the Vegeta for the draw 2 is because you can grab this off of the 1-drop Mechikabura, because you can play a Toa with energy cost 4 or less than 15k. And it's also sparking, so it's pretty much turned on turn 2. Like, no reason not to run this one. 2 Mechikabura Broken Seals. Got to run the winner ones. Deflect. 2-drop 15k. 2-drop 15k deflect can still game sometimes. Like, surprisingly, it's a great beater. And then auto. When it's played, you declare a original cost and a character name. Your opponent cannot play battle cards of that character or cost. Just absurdly powerful card. If you know your matchups, you can win games off of this. There's been so many matchups where I drop it and I just call 6-drop Dark Broly, and my opponent's like, well, you just have a whole free turn. You just won a turn because of 2 energy. Then activate main, you can search a Dark Dragon Ball. Most of the time, by the time you're playing this card, you already have all your Dragon Balls in the drop. If not, it's fantastic. But since you're bottom decking a lot of cards, it's nice to just be able to activate main, call that you got nothing, and then shuffle your deck. Seriously, fantastic card. Run it if you know your matchups. If not, replace it with something else, because this card is not going to be valuable unless you know your matchups. Some nice tech. Ginyu the Body Snatcher. Double strike. Gets negative 10k on your opponent's turn, which is not an issue. Then activate main. You choose 1 battle card you gain control of from your opponent with one of your card skills, and then place it in your opponent's drop area. Play this card. 20k double striker for free. You snatch a card with your leader card. You swing with whatever card you snatched, and then you play Body Snatcher. And free 20k double strike. Fantastic. Totally worth running in the deck. And also, this card's just really dope, and I don't think a lot of people paid any attention to it when it came out. So, I'm going to get into a myriad of 1-drops. If you know me, I love my 1-drops. I love my toolbox. 1 Champa, because Champa's good. 1 Mass and Brainwash No More. So, I have won games by overwhelming, and normally you don't want to overwhelm because you want to use your balls for your leader effect. So any turn where you already activated your leader effect, you can freely overwhelm and not feel bad about it. But that's not really the thing we're looking at. We're more so looking at the activate battle. If your leader card is black and you place this card from your hand in the drop area, you choose 1 card in your life, place it in the drop area. Leader card does not take damage for the battle. So there's quite a few boss monster decks that are running around right now. Big triple strike, quad strike on Celzino, stuff like that. You can just pay 1 energy and say, I'm not taking damage from that chief. And your opponent combos out their entire hand going for game, and then you pay 1 energy and 1 life, and it's okay. Like, I'm fine. I'm chilling, bro. Dark Mask King. Love this card. Always love this card. Just never really found a deck to play it in. When he attacks, you send 2 cards from your opponent's drop area to the warp. Yep. If your opponent has 10 or more cards in the warp, switch this card to active mode. Your opponent's going to have 10 or more cards by the time you're playing this. Trust me. Then auto once per turn when your opponent activates a counter. Choose 1 card in the life, send it to the warp. And you can play it for 4 energy if your opponent has 3 cards in their warp. They're going to have 3 cards in their warp. Don't worry about it. Shenron the Wish Granter. We're only focusing on the bottom part. Choose 1 of your leader cards or battle cards, and it gains 15k and triple strike for the turn. You're going to put it on your leader because you get triple attack, triple strike, 30,000. You draw 2 off of this, and then you draw 3 off of your leader. For 5 energy, you're drawing 5 cards and getting a triple attack, triple strike. Absurd value. Nobody can tell you this card's bad. The only bad thing about it is it's susceptible to counterplay. But if you're playing blue, that's really the only one you have to worry about, because all the other ones let the card come into play and you still get the on-play auto. So really, this card can't attack in the first place, so if they counterplay it and KO it or whatever, so what? You lost a 1k combo? Neat. Dark Mask King, Delusion of Darkness. This card's not fantastic, but I just really, really love the art and wanted to play it in a deck, so I threw it in here because it fits pretty well. Deflect, Double Strike, permanent. This card cannot be played from skills from any area, so you have to play it by paying 5. And then auto, when this card attacks, you may send 1 card from your opponent's life to the warp for every 10 cards in their warp. And then if you sent cards from your opponent's life to the warp, send one card from your life to the warp. In certain matchups, like Black Vegeta, your opponent's bursting 5 every turn. So in 2 turns, you already got 1 card or 1 card in their life to ship. Turn 4, if they bursted every time, then that's 2 cards. Plus all the cards you're putting in there, you can ship 3 or 4 cards off of 1 effect. The most I've ever gotten was 3, and it ended up winning me the game. And since this is also on attack, unless your opponent negates, they're still facing down a 25k double striker after getting how many ever cards warped from their life. Fantastic card. Just for 5 energy, it's a little steep. Not the best play at all times, but I just really like it. 1 Bardock fighting against Fate. Again, you don't want to overwhelm early in the game because you don't want to warp your balls. But if you already played your Shenron the Wishmaster, already warped or already removed the 7 balls from the game, swung out, your opponent probably either has 0 resources or already dead, this card will just come in and clean up whatever issue you have. 25k dual attack for free is absurd. And finally, Supreme Kai of Time. This would be the Sin Shenron secret rare, but I do not have access to it currently. This is not a bad one though. Fantastic field clear. If you play it right, can get rid of 2 attacks. Not my favorite secret rare in the list. You can run stuff like Heroine's Lineage. If you're crazy, you can run the Demigra secret rare. But this is just what I felt was best that I had current access to. Hey, there's the Sin Shenron. And we'll talk about this in a moment. But this card is fantastic. Just run whatever secret rare you can fit into the list. If you don't have any secret rares that fit, don't worry about it because it's not a big deal. I've never ever played this card. On the other hand, this card has come in handy. If you have this, 100% run it in the list. So it's treated as black in all areas. Fantastic. Ultimate blocker, obviously. And this card was removed from the battle area. It's removed from the game instead. A lot of secret rares have that effect. Auto, for 1, at the end of the battle, which card is used in a combo from your hand, play this card from your drop area. If you do, choose any number of your opponent's leader cards, battle cards, and units cards equal or less than to their current energy, ignoring barrier, switch on the rest mode. So you want to save this until like a late turn, so you can combo it, play it, and then rest your opponent's entire field. I've won so many games by just popping this on the field for 2 energy and just saying GG, bro. Pass turn. It's in late game, it kind of is equivalent to Baby Hatchiak, which is fantastic for a card that can be run in any deck. And then Activate Main, never done it. Not really a talking point. For 4 energy, it gains double strike and dual attack. For 4 energy, you can do a lot more with this deck, so most of the time you're just using this for its basically a opponent pass turn please for 2 energy. But that is about it.
For the longest profile ever, Jimmy?
I was trying to go a little bit in depth, okay,
He's pulling a fluff.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
so what, you now have the record for shortest spoiler and longest deck?
No, Fluff has that still.
Oh, Fluff has it still. Okay.
I'm going to come back with a 60 card variant of it, and it's going to be 60 unique cards, and I'm going to talk about how every single card affects the deck and is very good just to hold that record, because I'm going the Kenny Omega route. I'm going to be the belt collector. I'm taking all the titles. Shut up, Fluff. This is my profile.
Jimmy!
What?
I will Twitch a deck profile. For as long. I will do 1 deck profile. And I'll see how long I can keep it going.
I feel like this is a challenge.
It is a challenge.
Thank you all for tuning in. Click those buttons. They're there for a reason. Jimmy, last words.
Ding dong the bell.
I don't have anything to say.
Read your cards, know your plays, watch the stream.
Don't watch the stream. Don't give Fluff your time of day.
I'm actually curious, this matchup against my select deck, would you be able to be out instead?
I don't know. That's kind of interesting. I have to play my cards like in the right order.
Yeah.